Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and friends beyond the binary, it's time for the podcaster who's, like, I said this, and it's been, what is that? What year was that? So I've had 2013, 2012, 2011 maybe, maybe even earlier, 2010. I'm coming at you like a lull. No, it's like 2019 last time I said that, like a lulling horse in the deep, dark night. So you want somebody that's going to play sleepy games, whether I don't put the Katie in the Perry or the Perry in the Katie. I put the Perrier in my belly though, cause what am I talking about? What is this nonsense? I don't know. Cause it's time for Sleep With Me podcast that puts you to sleep. And here's how we're able to keep this podcast free for everybody. Hey, everybody, before we get to the episode here, this episode was recorded a little while ago, and I just wanted to let you know that I'm here to create a safe place, and I'm not perfect. I'm doing the best job I can, but I'm here to create a safe place for you, and that means that Black Lives Matter. So if you're looking for support for yourself or to support the Black members of our community, you could find resources and links in the show notes. Thanks so much. Hey, everybody, it's Scoots here, and I know this isn't an easy time for everybody, but I wanted to let you know this podcast is going to continue to be coming out on Sunday and Wednesday nights. So ideally, the podcast stays a place that you can rely on whenever you need it. But I do want to ask those of you that are in a position to do so to think about supporting the show. And you could do that at sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. I mean, the main reason that patrons say they support the show is because it feels good. They know they get a lot of value out of the podcast, and they're proud to support the work that goes into the show that puts them to sleep, and they get so much out of. And that's pretty rebellious. It's actually like countercultural to support a free podcast because you get something out of it. So if you do have an extra $10 in your monthly budget or $20 in your budget, consider becoming a patron. Now, some of you might be like, well, what really is in it for me? Well, $10 and up patrons get 2 all intro episodes a month. So that's one reason if you're a fan of all intros. If you just want to get to the stories or you don't like any of the singing in the podcast, $5 and up patrons get story-only episodes every week, and they get jingle ad-free episodes every week. And the main reason to become a patron is if you listen on a regular basis and you rely on the show, or especially if you listen all night. So just ask yourself, how many times do you listen to Sleep With Me a month compared to other things you pay for on a monthly basis? And then only if you're in a position to do so, go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. One other reason to do so, though, is that now we have an exclusive show. It's only available to $10 and $20 patrons. It's an exclusive behind-the-scenes look. It's still sleepy at the making of odder things, and this is just something really cool. You say, wait a second, I'm the only one that gets to listen to this, and it's sleepy, and I get a deeper look into the process of making the show. So one more reason to think about becoming a patron at sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. Oh, Mystery Bart, do you have a song to put me in the mood for this Helix Sleep?
When they sleep, one size won't fit all. Helix Sleep customizes your mattress to you to make you more comfortable.
Hey, everybody, it's Scoots. I'm really excited to talk about Helix, especially during this time when you're at home more often. You really think about, like, how's that bed you're in right now feel? When did you buy it? How long ago did you get it? And when you bought it, was it a seamless, personalized experience? I love my Helix bed. Helix makes personalized mattresses right here in America, shipped straight to your door with free, no-contact delivery, free returns, and a 100-night sleep-on-it trial. And Helix has a quiz that just takes 2 minutes to complete. It matches your body type and sleep preference to find the perfect mattress for you. What other mattress company takes the time to really make a mattress for you and your body so that you could feel comfortable? Helix has a specific mattress for each and everyone's unique taste. I took the quiz. I got matched with the Helix Dusk, which kind of goes with this, okay, it's bedtime, it's time to wind down. But it's also important for me because I sleep on my stomach and I sleep on my side. I get a little warm. So I wanted everything that checked off all of those boxes. And for me, the quiz did that for me. And it matched me up with the Helix Dusk, which has really worked out so well. well. Helix was awarded the #1 best overall mattress pick of 2020 by GQ, Wired Magazine, and Apartment Therapy. You take their 2-minute sleep quiz, and they'll match you to a customized mattress that'll give you the best sleep of your life.
Just go to helixsleep.com/sleep. Take their 2-minute sleep quiz. The customized mattress will give you the best sleep of your life. And you'll be saying, gee whiz, Helix Sleep.
They have a 10-year warranty, so you get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free. And they'll even pick it up for you if you don't love it. And the deal gets even better. So you might need to sit up in bed or leave yourself a note, because Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/sleep. That's Helix, HELIX sleep.com/sleep for $200 off. So get over there, take the quiz, and let me know what you got. I'm so excited to find out more. Thanks, Helix. All right, everybody, it's time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone, the one part of the podcast I need you to hear, because it's where I celebrate the listeners who supported the sponsors. It gives me a chance to bring you this podcast twice a week. And I want to thank Freak Tet, who supported Daily Harvest, shared with Daily Harvest and me on Twitter. And I also want to thank the anonymous person who got a Helix mattress, who said, "Oh, I didn't get you." They said they sent an email to Helix and let them know they heard about him on the podcast. So please be like the anonymous person who emailed Helix, or Freak Tet, who supported Daily Harvest. Tag them, tag me in a social media post, especially companies like Daily Harvest, Helix, Sunsoil, Brooklyn, and make sure if you support the sponsors, let them know their partnership is valuable. Let them know you heard about them on the podcast and you appreciate the fact they help bring you the podcast that puts you to sleep. And then when you support them, let me know about it so I can try to thank you here on the Sleepy Supporter Zone. The second part of Sleepy Supporter Zone is you getting the support you need, whether it's for self-care, mental health, supporting the Black members of our community, enacting internal and external change. Links to resources will be in the show notes. The third part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone is something I support. And when you hear this, this is the tail end of our fundraiser for the Water Wheel Foundation. And the Water Wheel Foundation, a great foundation, supports a lot of amazing organizations. If you still want to get in on it, just go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/waterwheel and join me and the other listeners who are supporting the work they're doing. And that is the end of the Sleepy Supporter Zone, which is now over. Oh, Mystery Bard. A lot of people help out on the show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the Legend also edits episodes. Kenny, Scotty, and Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astoundor on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your narrators. Get support your scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. We're raising money for the Water Wheel Foundation, and Scooter might get a perm.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. I'm at Dear Scooter on Twitter and Instagram. That's where you can find me. And what do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you set aside whatever's keeping you awake, whether it's thoughts or feelings, physical sensations, changes in time or temperature. So things that might be on your mind, or things you're feeling or experiencing physically or emotionally coming up for you. or places you are. You might not be sleeping at home, or someone else might be gone, or you might be anticipating something, or it could just be a mystery. You could say, I don't know why. I'm just having trouble getting to sleep. Yeah, not sure why. Trouble staying asleep. Yeah, not sure why. Waking up early and needing someone to put you back to sleep. I got you there too. They can be used in all those ways and many more. So I'm not sure exactly what's keeping you awake. But, the key thing is a lot of times I can relate to how you feel. Like even physically. I don't know if you could just felt that. But I do really try to put myself in your position. Even those of you that are already like, this is not the podcast for me. And I'm going to, 1 star right now. Usually that manifests in the same place, like behind my upper rib cage, in the center of my chest. That's one place that I say not when I can't sleep. It's not what keeps me awake, but it's like when I can't fall, like after I start to think about I can't fall asleep. You know what I'm saying? There's a little activity there behind the old rib cage, and it's like it's some sort of emotional resonance. I don't know if that's actually a word, but where some of my, feelings and organs are getting together and they're saying, Scoots, we're not happy about this either, this situation. We're a bit miffed, to say it mildly. So whatever's keeping me awake, here's my proposition. No, of course I want to see, here's the situation. Parents, like I say that 1 out of 3 intros, parents went away on a week's vacation. But here's my proposition. I'm gonna try to create this safe place here, and you can hang those at the door, or you could bring in whatever's keeping you awake. I'll try to take your mind off of it and whatever's keeping you awake off of itself, or off of you, saying, I got to get that human's attention. Got to shake the old rib cage. That's what you say. Wait, what's your job? Well, I'm the ultimate protector of you. Well, actually, I just project a few, projection. Whoops, holy Freud, you got me. I'll tell you what, ultimate protector. Could I get back to you in a second? Because I was going to tell the listeners, especially the new ones. So what I'm going to do is create a safe place. I'm going to send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, superfluous tangents. So that means I'll go off topic, which you kind of already seen already. Word repetition, that's definitely a technique I've mastered. Or maybe that was a natural technique I've exploited. My natural tendency to reuse words, in us and ahs and those kind of things. But if you're new, a few things to know. I really am glad you're here, because I'd like to help if I can. Now, this podcast does not work for everybody, and definitely not everybody likes it. But see how it goes. Like, I don't say this in a way, I don't gain anything by this, but like that most listeners, almost, I guess like sometimes I want to say 99%, but maybe it's like 80, it's definitely over 80% that said I had to listen to it 2 or 3 times before I realized that there was kind of nothing to figure out. This podcast didn't make any sense. It makes so little sense. It makes perfect sense. Because I'm in the business of nonsense. But so give it a few tries and just see how it goes. But it does not work for everybody. I really wish it did. I really wish I could help everyone in the world fall asleep. Holy mackerel. I mean, because when I was a kid, the soda companies were the ones, you wouldn't believe this, most of you that are listening. But, that's, you say, Scoots, where do you learn all of your great things about life and humanity? I say, well, commercials that I watched as a kid, cartoons I watched as a kid, and sitcoms I watched as a kid. And once upon a time, there was a soda company, and they said, they put forth a proposition via song that if you could just buy everyone in the world a soda, that would be it. It'd be like a bliss city, worldwide bliss. And I think that's always stuck with me. I said one day, and I don't know, maybe there's probably a few people here in the U.S. that could easily buy the world a soda or two. But that was a song. It was really like, and they showed the whole globe in unity, in joy. It was a dream. Maybe it was some part of my brain said, it's a commercial, right? And I said, well, they also, the soda companies also are very, like, polar bears love them too. So I'm not sure you're exactly right. But I carry that dream with me that one day, I don't know what they called it. It was talk about soft drink power, soft power. It was soft drink power. The soft drink revolution. It wasn't even, people were just they said, wow, this is great. And I think it all started, as it always does, with a child singing about, it was a love song to soda. I think the child loved soda and the world so much. And here's the thing, I love soda. I try not to drink it only over a 1 day period a week, like a cheat day or whatever, but I fail at that too. But that's what I'm striving to do. But as a youth, that stayed with me. I guess that was my point. And now I wish I could just lull the world a lull, and you'd be drifting off in sleepy harmony or whatever. But this podcast doesn't work for everybody. That was my meandering way of saying that. I wish it did. Just like I wish I could buy, if you don't drink a soda, I'd buy you something else, but I wish I could buy you one. Or something that's actually, something that you could use too. Where was I? So if you're new, podcast doesn't work for everybody. This is a podcast you don't need to listen to. Now, there's a lot of people that do listen. And there's people that kind of listen, there's people that barely listen, and there's people that are finding new ways of, new ways of just barely listening at all. So you could kind of see how it goes. But if you're new, if you're listening very closely and trying to follow along and figure stuff out, I mean, clearly, I think I've already made my case that I don't really need to be fully listened to. Because, can't give everything I'm saying full credence. So you could kind of barely listen, almost like the soft focus of that sweet commercial, sweet dream that I had about the world being unified under the soda powers, the soda accords. So that's one thing. This is also a podcast, and it doesn't really put you to sleep. I'm more here to keep you company as you drift off. I'm your bore friend, your bore bud, your bore bae, your bore sib, your bore bestie, your bore bruh. I mean, one day, whatever people are saying now, and 3 years from now, I'll be saying that. So I'm here to keep you company, take your mind off of stuff as you drift off and walk at your side as you float away into dreamland. That's why the shows are about an hour, to give you plenty of time to fall asleep. There's no pressure to fall asleep, no pressure to listen. And as a matter of fact, if you can't sleep, I'm going to be here till the very end, because I do make this show with a couple of kinds of listeners in mind. I mean, that one thing I actually believe that by the episodes being an hour and fully complete, that it somehow helps, parts of part of your brain that's kind of active is kind of listening. I mean, don't let me puff up my ego too much. But those parts of your brain that are usually bugging you, for some reason, you might not like me that much, but those parts of your brain that are, but when you say, what's the purpose of that one tiny aspect of my personality? Who are we talking about? The projector. You see, what is your job exactly? Well, I project the past onto the future in order to protect you. Or I project the future onto the present with an immediacy. Yeah, or I'll project, our values onto somebody else and then do a comparison. It's not exactly, it feels like an exact, those are my jobs, to keep you safe. You see, I don't know how any of that well, just trying to protect you, just doing my job. When were you invented, Projector Protector? Well, I just came about one day, sprang into existence. Would you like to be in this episode coming up? Because I'm towards, maybe we could do it. Could we do an episode with you? Would you be comfortable with that? Well, I don't know. You're the one that's got to do the work. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we could talk about that tonight. But usually those parts of our brains, they say, this Scoots, he makes a lot of mistakes. I better keep my eye on him. Let my human rest. The holy fallible. They love I call them brain bots. They've never seen anyone I get their mail, believe it or not. They say, I've never seen anyone as valuable as you. You don't even know how to use that word. And I say, well, that's my job. Just doing my job. I'm a performer. And then they laugh knowingly. And I say, well, I'm just doing the service I can. And they say, hey, you're making the most of what you got, Hardy. And I say, yeah. So what was my point though? So the reason the episodes are about an hour is in case you can't sleep. I'm going to be here to keep you company, whether you're awake or asleep. So if you can't sleep, I'm here. If you listen all night, these episodes are not perfect for all night listening. A lot of stuff on Patreon's a little bit better. I mean, that's a plug. But it's just a reality of making the podcast. It has to have some support. But there are people that listen all night, and that's because maybe they're waking up. So I'm here when you wake up. So I'm just here for you in this way that I can be here for you, which is a strange way. I mean, I'm a strange person, and I'm here in a strange but well-intentioned way to keep you company and take your mind off stuff as you fall asleep. Structurally, if you're new, way too late to explain this to you, but I will. A show starts off with about 5 minutes of business, 5 to 6 minutes of business or so. Ideally, maybe. I'm always trying to trim it as short as I can, but that's how we keep the podcast free for everybody. Then there's an intro. Now, the intro, sometimes people get the intro with the business mixed up because the intro is mixed up. I just talk for about 12 to 20 minutes about the podcast, and I'm here to kind of help you fall asleep and to keep you company. But the real purpose intro is to give you time to wind down. Whether you're getting ready for bed or you're in bed and you're getting comfortable and kind of sinking in. The intro's where the day kind of fades away. And it's also where you can learn insights. For all of you that are younger, you say, geez, I didn't really know about the time the soda companies, did they actually save the world, Scoots, or did they just try? And I say, wow, great question. Really, hopefully the world works out better in your hands than, I don't know, maybe, hopefully, whatever you saw. I used to watch a lot of commercials. You get to skip a lot more than I do. But I'm not sure. But I'm here to help you fall asleep. So the intro is just a long-winded way of me trying to check in and tell new people about the podcast. But for regular listeners, what up, regular listeners? And all my pets that also listen to the podcast. I mean, you're not my pets, you're our pets. My fishes, what's up with the fishes in the room? Because you don't get enough, talk about Creedence Clearwater Revival. You put, I don't know what that means, fishes, but, I know you can't be petted, but you could be treated with, you could get attention. Also, all the other pets, sorry, I can't call all of you out. Not all of you are as sleepy as, the big two, cats and dogs, who are great and deserve to be petted right now. But all you other pets are darn, holy cow. Is this the cutest group of pets I've ever seen in the world? So I pander to pets, or acknowledge their greatness. What was I talking about? The intro. Oh, that's another part of the intro. So intro just helps you get ready, get comfortable, and start to drift off. Then we'll do a story. Originally, I thought this intro was going to be about something else, but apparently it'll probably be looking at our friend Projector, just because I like saying that. And yeah, I think that's it. I mean, then there's some thank yous at the end. There's also business between the intro and the show, the bedtime story. That's kind of just how, like, it's easier if when your hand hits the fridge tomorrow, you just say, oh, how do I support the show? But that's where the ads are. And I think that's it. I mean, I hope I can help you fall asleep. Give it a few tries. Try not to take this. If you're skeptical, totally makes sense. Almost every listener came here skeptical and doubtful. Of course you would be. But I'm really glad you're here, and I really hope I can help you fall asleep. I work very hard on the show. I yearn and I strive. Let's see how it goes, right? And here's a couple of ways we're able to keep this podcast free for everybody. All right, everybody, one of my favorite sponsors is back, and that's Native Deodorant. And one of the main reasons is because performance matters. Native Deodorant works. In the past, I tried to make the switch to natural deodorants, and they just didn't get the job done. Native has me smelling fresh all day long. Well, not just fresh, it's smelling really good. Right now, my favorite smell is coconut and vanilla because I love smelling like summertime, and then I can sing one of the many wonderful summertime songs as I put it on and dance around. But Native deodorant doesn't just block odor better, it's made better. Native has ingredients you've heard of like coconut oil, shea butter, and tapioca starch. It's also vegan and never tested on animals. I don't know if you knew this, but aluminum forms a plug in your sweat glands to keep you from sweating. And that's why Native never uses ingredients like aluminum, parabens, sulfates, or talc. But switching to aluminum-free deodorant doesn't mean you have to sacrifice on odor protection. Native keeps you smelling and feeling fresh all day long. And as I said, they have over 10 scents. They have rotating seasonal scents. There's something for everyone. There's coconut and vanilla, as I said, lavender and rose, cucumber and mint, citrus and herbal. There's unscented, but Native is risk-free to try. Every product comes with free shipping within the U.S. Plus, they have free 30-day returns and exchanges. If you're interested to see why so many people love Native, check out over 14,000 five-star reviews. But oh boy, am I excited to test out one of the summer seasonals that Native has, sweet peach and nectar. I say, holy cow, I'd imagine I'd probably be kissing my shoulders double time just so I can smell my armpits when I smell like sweet peach and nectar. And I'll probably buy two so I can save one for the winter when I say, oh boy, I need to feel like it was summer again. Should I try my coconut and vanilla or my sweet peach and nectar? Here's what you need to do. Do what I did. Make the switch to Native today by going to nativedeo.com/sleep20 or use the promo code sleep20 at checkout and get 20% off your first order. That's nativedeo.com/sleep20 or use the promo code sleep20 at checkout for 20% off your first order. Get over there, then tag me online and let me know what scents you ordered so I can, maybe I'll say, wait a second, I should try that one out. Thanks, everybody. Hey, everybody, it's Scoots. I don't know if you've ever thought about becoming a patron and then changed your mind or decided, nah, I don't want to be a rebel with cause. I don't want to support a free podcast. I'd love to hear why. But I think I have some pretty good reasons why maybe you could think about it if you're in a position to do so. If you're not, this is an uncertain time. I'm just reaching out to the people that are in a place where you could afford an extra $5, $10, or $20 a month. So if you can't afford it, you get a lot out of the show. Those are the basic reasons to consider becoming a patron. And you say, only one or two out of every 100 listeners becomes a patron. Well, do you have what it takes to do that? Do you listen to the podcast like 5, 6, 7 nights a week? Do you listen to 5, 10, 20, 30 episodes a week? Do you wait? Are you listening to the episodes on Sunday and Wednesday when they come out? Like you say, oh boy, do you love all intros? Do you want to listen to our exclusive patron-only series that $10 and $20 patrons are getting? But particularly if you listen all night, the Patron feed is just way more designed for that. Or if you consume a lot of Sleep With Me and you want more selections, or you want story-only episodes, or you want all intros, see if you have extra $10 or $20 a month in your budget, and go over to sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. You get something back, but really it's what you get on the inside that you could feel good about, that you say, well, the podcast I rely on is going to be there when I need it and when thousands of other people need it too. So thank you so much, everybody. That's sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. All right, hey, everybody, it's Scoots here, and I'm here live, I guess, with... I guess I'm here live. This is an unexpected place. I didn't expect to be in this. Is someone I met during the intro, which I presume, like, since I met you during the intro of a podcast I was making, and I'm alone when I'm recording, that you're some sort of manifestation within me. But I wanted to introduce everybody to Projector, which is you. So Projector lives somewhere within me, and just as a refresher for anybody that's new or that's listening along and says, Scoots, how about a refresher before you introduce? Plus, I don't know. It's not easy for everybody to be on the mic. A little behind the scenes too. When you record a podcast, you listen to you have headphones on normally, and so you're hearing your voice as you're recording. That way you know you're close to the mic, and you can monitor. They call it monitoring your own audio. And, of course, just the idea of being on the mic. So I'm just trying to give Projector a little time to warm up, too, and get comfortable. But so there's this concept on Sleep With Me podcast called brain bots, and it's been around for a while, at least 4 or 5. Let's see, what year is it? 2020. We started the podcast in 2013. So at least 5 years, I think, we've had brain bots. And before BB-88 or that other cone droid, the droid with the cone-shaped head that's also super cute. I don't know if I did this on an episode of the podcast or in person, but I said, what's up with R2? Not to change the subject, but did R2, do something to fall out of favor with the world? I mean, no offense. I mean, or none, BB-8 or BB-88, you're both so cute. And you, Cone Droid, I don't know what your official numerical title is, but you're great, too. I'm not trying to take away from anything. And I realized that R2 was kind of dormant, or maybe you say, well, R2's very tied to Luke Skywalker. And I only saw the last movie once, so I guess I'd have to see it again to say, oh, well, R2 did get some time in that movie. But I just don't get it. I mean, especially, and I realized that, there's a lot of people rewrite, they say, well, what about this or that? But how come C-3PO got so much airtime and not R2? I always thought they were a team, in my opinion. And I realized there was a lot bigger stuff than that, I don't know. I just keep coming back to it. I mean, not as big as a deal as when they left the floating pram. They put that in the garbage, a dumpster. On the Mandalorian. That one has been with me for a long. I say, you're telling me there was a pram or a carriage that would hover and you threw it away? I mean, even there's other things I've thought about this floating pram thing. Oh, for those of you who don't listen regularly or don't listen to the Mandalorian episodes, so there's a TV show called The Mandalorian. And it takes place in the Star Wars universe. I think at some point in the Star Wars timeline that I don't know. I don't want to get too focused on that. Features. It's a brilliant show. Very well done. But there was one plot point. So there was a small baby-like character on it, Baby Oso. OSO, for oh so cute. And also because the baby, all of the wonderful qualities of Oso Raven, baby Oso also embodied those qualities. And maybe that's so Raven, but I've only watched that in a hotel room a couple times. But so this baby Oso, during the film, or during the show program, had a pram or a carriage. Is that what they call them? Baby carriage, baby pram, stroller. That's what they call them here in the U.S. And, you're familiar with strollers or prams or wherever you are in the world. It may have another title, but a conveyance for a baby that's lying down. And maybe some of them have 2 wheels, some of them have 4 wheels, some of them have wheels that are big, all those things. This one, here's a couple features of the floating pram that was featured on The Mandalorian. One, it floated. It didn't have wheels, didn't need wheels. It hovered, but also could go forward and backwards. Also at very high speeds, had remote control. They could be communicated. It could change direction, could follow you, or probably go in front of you or next to you. It could definitely go next to you. So I didn't even think about the technology for self-driving. So it was a self-driving, always under observation, except the time the Mandalorian was on the big Jawa ship thing, portable fortress or whatever they call it. I don't know how this turned into a Star Wars episode, but, May the 5th is coming up. But don't worry, Projector Protector, we'll get back to you. So that sounds pretty sweet. Not only that, it had like a cover that was actually like the cover would come down. And not only would it, but if the baby needed it to be dark, no matter the time of day, it could do that. If the baby needed it for rain, like a very all-weather cover. Automatic too, I think it was. Also is made out of some sort of alloy or metal, which most of us associate. I mean, not many people are rolling around in like a platinum pram, because, you have to push it, where this, you didn't have to push it. It just floated. And so at some point, the former members of the former empire got a hold of this pram. And what did they do with it? They threw it away in a dumpster. And it's just something I've never been able to let go of. In the story, it's not that important. But I made my own story about it, that a storm person, former trooper of storms or whatever, said, "Oh boy, boss, don't worry, I'm going to throw that right away. That's the best place for it, totally." And then after work, they were going to go get it, because that would be common sense. So I don't know. What was the name of that planet too? I forgot it. Navarro. I think that's the planet. If you're ever on Navarro, go through the dumpsters. I don't know if that was before the First Order, but you'd say, who's in charge of resources? No wonder you're not the empire anymore. Talk about imperialists. You're just wasting stuff. And so that makes me return to my point of, another thing that was gotten my goat, or my goat got my gruff, or whatever we say here on the podcast, was that I don't know why R2 didn't get more screen time. I guess it kind of makes sense. I hope R2's not listening, but when you got BB-8 cruising around, I guess, there's just a change in relevance, because you say, well, I always want to say BB-88, but, BB-8 had a lot of personality, and so you say, well, I just can't write for, I can't write for can't write, we don't have enough droid writers. That's what it was. During the rewrites, we just could only focus so much on storylines and non-humanoid droids. And once so I said, okay, I can relate to that. I have trouble with managing more than like two main characters. So all that being said, once upon a time, or every once in a while I talk about brain bots, which are parts of our personality, in my opinion, that are usually a lot of times during the day, they're latent or they're sleeping. But then when you get into bed, they start cruising around, just like R2 or BB-8 or the cone droid. And they start trying to get your attention. And usually, I mean, here's the other thing that I don't mean to keep talking about Star Wars and droids, but I say to myself, because for me, brain bots usually just are filling one function. Normally, it's some sort of ongoing ALARM or alert, or like they had the ability to project in the shows, like project something, and they'd say, just watch this movie about fourth grade again. It's just 5 seconds, but it really, I want you to think about this before you get some sleep, because I can't, that's my job, is to remind you of this. And you say, why? So we don't repeat it again, or so we can just try to think about how we could get back there and do it differently, or how good our lives would have been. You say, okay, thank you for showing me that projection. It's, yeah. So those are brain bots. I guess the next tangent I was going to go on about droids, though, was, here's a couple of things they don't talk about, because this is Hollywood. How much does a droid cost? I mean, obviously, people get a long life out of them, and there's a strong used and refurbished market for them, thanks to the Jawas and other scavengers, or like on the show, on the Mandalorian, you say, okay, well, I did my own, what do you call that when you redo an engine? Rebuilt my own droid. But I was just thinking, like, because usually I thought like R2 and BB-8 were navigational, like they were like co-pilot droids, right? Maybe they do autopilot, star systems, all of the complex math for a starship and light speed and all that kind of stuff. And then maybe they have a personality to keep you cool, because, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just over the years they said, well, it's going to go a lot better if, they have a personality. We studied human or, mammal or near human, like over all the galaxies, maybe domesticated animals are a thing. I don't know. So I'm not saying the droids are. But I'm just wondering, I mean, I know they sometimes can carry tools or do other stuff or interface with computers or, C-3PO is a protocol droid. That's different. You say, okay, I get it. And actually, C-3PO is not really good at much else. I mean, no offense, but, other than, worrying about stuff and predicting odds, because you say, well, I got this processing power, so I figured out other ways to use it. So all that said, I guess my point was that I just think about, so brain bots. So I think about that at bedtime is like brain bots. So Projector is, we just met. Seems like that's kind of a title I made up for you, correct? Yeah, correct. Thank you, Scooter, though. Thank you. That is correct, but I'm glad to be here on your show, and I'm really excited to talk to everybody, and I'm a little bit, this is my first time on a podcast or anywhere other than your mind. Well, that's good to have you. I mean, it's good to have you on, Protector. And just because you came up there, I said, well, let's do a show together. So what do you say, like we do a storytelling show where I give you a title of, like one of the ways I do Sleep With Me. And I've already done 2 episodes during this, but this will be like kind of a chance for us to do kind of 2 things at once. Does that sound good to you? Sounds good, Scooter, because that's kind of my job is Protector. I project and protect. I also project to protect. Yeah, we do have to kind of hold things gently and with dignity and respect here on Sleep With Me. So you can't be as, when I'm trying to sleep, when you're dealing with just me, it's one thing, but we have to think about all the other listeners. So I hope you could diffuse all of your statements if all possible. That sounds great, Scooter. So what were you saying? Wow, you're natural. It's like you've been in my mind the whole time observing me making this show. One method I use, so this style of episode we're doing tonight is traditionally called a Trending Tuesday style episode. Oh, why is that, Scooter? Well, because once upon a time, so I started this podcast in 2013. And at first I was just trying to figure out how to make it and could I make it and would I keep making it. And then after a while of making it, I don't know if it was around episode 100. I'm just guessing because I've been looking through the archives, but I started realizing I'd have to come up with more creative ways to come up with episodes because they're constantly having to get made and put out. That makes sense, Scooter. And yeah, so one time, I mean, this was back in 2013 and 2014, and the world really was a different place back then. And even 2015, that I would call it Trending Twitter Tuesdays, because I would go on Twitter, or I would use a Twitter app. I would look at the top trends that were trending right then, and usually I'd take a screenshot of it, and then I would use those as prompts to randomize a story. So there'd be, if there was like somewhere between 7 or 8, not so much story beats, but story directional changes, so that the story didn't kind of peter out. Scooter, is this going to be an interview of me? Not exactly. That's not because we started an interview and it didn't, we're transitioning to a new form of interaction now. And so I was thinking, so that's why it was called Trending Twitter Tuesdays, and that became a staple of Sleep With Me. And at once upon a time, we used to put out 3 episodes a week, which was never sustainable, workload-wise, but I wanted to see if it one day could be sustainable, because I liked that idea. Like I said, could we ever get to the kind of point where that would make sense to put out 3 episodes a week? But as I was at some point, it just was like, okay, this is too much. There's just not a way to sustain that much, the infrastructure to sustain that much. You know what I'm saying? Yes, Scooter. It was just there's just not enough. That's a lot of content to put out 3 episodes a week. And all the work that goes into supporting to put out the content, there's just not, wasn't viable. Exactly. Because at the time we would put out episodes Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. And so each one of those, Sunday had a certain style episode, TV recaps. Tuesday was Trending Twitter Tuesday style episodes, not always trending Twitter. And then Thursday would be the written episodes. And, then we tried rending Ritter Reditation, which was kind of similar. That worked pretty good for a while. And since then, I've tried to do trending topics because it's just not sleepy, I guess. Totally makes sense, Scooter. I'm with you. As a protector, I hear exactly what you're saying. And so I'm constantly looking for stuff. I use fish set lists, Nintendo games I've used. And so this is the 3rd time I'm using this, is Vulture came out with a list of the 100 greatest emo songs. And so I thought we'd use a couple of those as story prompts for you to kind of tell me, I don't know, just see where they go for you. That's always interesting. Try to keep the story in mind and the listeners in mind. And, no pressure because I can always edit it. So there's no real pressure on you at all, Projector. Other than to just see where things lead you. So does that sound good? Scooter does sound very good. I'm ready for my prompt. Okay, so your first prompt is existentialism on prom nights. Oh, Scooter. So that reminds me when I was just, so you may have heard just my slip of the tongue earlier, or a slip of the film, as we say in the Projector Protector business. Not only do I go by the name Projector Protector, but that is kind of one of what part who I am as well. And you may say, "Oh, is this?" And I don't want to get too into the background or the history of Projector Protectors, but we're a part of like not exactly as you describe us as a unifunction or male. The old, that word. Adapted with male in the front of it, Scooter, that you refer to us sometimes as, which is not, it's just a way of generalizing. I understand generalizing us. But Projector Protector, I guess the simplest way to tell you is a way of life for me and other Projector Protectors out there. And, our function and our purpose is kind of somewhat straightforward. But we also have to live by code, and that, that code is not always clear and not always easy to understand and all those things. We crop into being when we're needed, or as you may say, we're as our humans are adapting. The humans don't always have all the tools they need, so they're making tools just like, the human history we see. And not that different than other tools. Like the Projector Protector is just a tool that a lot of humans are springing to existence. And as you kind of hinted at a younger age normally, but not always, a tool to deal with things. As they're adapting to situations. But we also kind of have to come up with a code, right? And one of those actually that they taught us is that there is existentialism on prom night is to be avoided at all costs. Or if you said Projector Protector, because you might say you could say, could you write a book of tips for other Projector Protectors? And I would say, avoid existentialism on prom night at all costs, because it is a likely place. Like if you're watching over someone like Scooter, like I am, that's someone who probably lives in their head a lot, and they do a lot of thinking. They don't do a lot of, they don't find it easy to be present in their own space and body all the time. Sometimes they have an inability to enjoy themselves, and maybe they recreationally find ways to lower their inhibitions and those kind of things. And so when it comes to something like prom night, which you have to be pretty prepared. Now, also, if you're dealing with someone like Scooter, they tend to deflate or not, they tend to control expectations when they can. So they probably don't build up things that are titled, like their high expectations are elsewhere. So when something like prom night comes, they're more putting it, how do you say this? They're saying, well, it's not like they're faking it. Some people would say, oh, you're poo-pooing that, or you're not into that because you're, and you say, well, no, it's a little bit more complex than that. I have a Projector Protector and also many other tools that I use. Some of which I designed and developed when I was only 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 years old. And I guess my point in all this is that, so the reason we would have a code of no existentialism on prom night is, for me, the Projector Protector, most of my work should be done, but like if you're taking a place of responsibility, I would be even telling Scooter, no existentialism on prom night. I'm going to get you, we're going to try to figure out everything ahead of time. Everything, people might say it's unrealistic that this could happen. in a good way or a non-great way. But over the next 42 nights, we're going to run through all of them multiple times from multiple angles, and we'll recreate them and we'll see we'll run through how we're going to handle everything unexpected. And that would be my role, really, one of my roles, so we'd say young Scooter prom night is, what do they call it? They had two, but let's say you're 17, 16 years old or so. You see, don't worry, we're going to run through all these things that might have differing degrees of everything. And that what I really want you to do, Scooter, is, get all of that out of the way so that you would be secure. And then maybe you could have fun or something during that instead of having an intensity level of 12 out of 10. But also we want you to enjoy yourself to the degree that you'd be restful. So either prom night could be the night before or the night of. Now, I know a lot of those things, they tend to go on after the dance. And I'm not, to be honest, Scooter, I'm running through your database and I can't exactly see what... I know you had a fun time on the Sunday after. Usually you have a daytime, it looks like from what I can see, outdoor at a park. And I think there was probably something with you, that you did at one of your friends' houses after the prom. And you went with someone you were friends with, which is always a good idea, especially for Scooter, because you see, you got to keep your, you can't overstretch. So those are all things that make sense, but what we would want is not for you to be lying in bed. Well, maybe we would have wanted this for Scooter, if you'd been swept away somehow in whatever romantic throes or dreaminess, and thinking about the meaning and the purpose and but yeah, that just doesn't sound very conducive to prom night, is you thinking about all those things. Does this mean everything? Does this mean nothing? Where do I feel what am I thinking about all this? So we'd say, okay, if you're looking at being a projector protector, prepare for prom night, 60, 90, 120 days. You don't even need to, even before you'd even think about having a date. We might have to even start preparing earlier for you to think about preparing for having a date or going as friends, or going without a date. All those things are fine. Yeah, and we would want to help, or that should you just ignore these pressures to say. But I would say, in context is if you could step out of other people's expectations and still go and have fun, because sometimes, Scooter, you did border on, saying, removing yourself from having fun, not by saying you're above it, but by saying, well, I'm you're not being standoffish on purpose. But I guess I would want for you to be able to release yourself to be a child and have fun. Because there were times you did go to dances and dance. We've talked about this before. Yeah, I'm sorry, Projector, it's kind of feeling like a little bit of a therapeutic. Oh, I'm glad, Scooter, I'm glad we're talking about this prom stuff is therapeutic for you. Well, no, I was going to say, you sure I could talk more about your dances before we get to the next story prompt, of course. So I'd like to think about there's two dances, Scooter, where you really did one you kind of let loose, and it was a little confusing, and that was when you were in middle school, I believe. And we talked about it on the show where you went as, what you saw is someone from London punk, 1980s, and you went to the school dance like that, and people could barely tell who you were, and you had all sorts of accoutrement, and you had a lot of fun. But then you also you had ripped jeans, and then someone ripped your jeans up to your I don't know how to say it other than tidy whities that you wore at the time. Yeah, and that was confusing for me because I couldn't tell. It wasn't, I don't think it was people trying to be mean, but it was kind of like it was like it was just kids. I mean, I can see how people say, well, that was because it was someone I was kind of friends with, and the act wasn't super nice, but it also wasn't mean-spirited. It was from a place of, like, vulnerability and maybe just overexcitement. And then, yeah, someone else helped you use one of your many headbands or armbands to tie it around your leg, and so you couldn't really see your tighty-whities after that. Yeah, I don't know how much I danced at that one, though. Well, yeah, but you were there. You embodied the costume spirit of that Halloween dance or whatever it was. Yeah, I know you're not going to bring this up because I can read your mind, but there was also the first dance I went to, other than, that I did take tap dance, and we had my dance recitals, and then that actually gave me a sense of rhythm. So then in that, when my grammar school, the middle school at my elementary school was K through 8. But then the year I was in 6th grade, they decided to close down 7th and 8th grade. So we were going to have to go to a middle school. And I don't know if that was related to the fact that it wasn't at 6th, 7th, and 8th grade we all had a dance, or was it only 6th and 7th grade, or was it only a 6th grade dance and 7th graders were there? Do you remember? Scooter, I don't know. I don't necessarily. I think it was either 7th and 6th grade, or there was a lot of 7th graders at the 6th grade dance. Right. And that was another one where a lot of people, like, that was my first prepubescent place of, like, oh, where do I fit in this prepubescent world? And I didn't have a comfortable place there where I fit in, because I kind of, like, where I was in the social hierarchy and self-confidence and all those things. But you, Scooter, you still found a place to fit in, though. Well, I did, and I remember that everybody was getting dates, and then I said, oh, I don't know. And, everybody was pairing off, but then... my friend, Chris, I remember that there was 4 of us that came up with a plan, and that, I think it was Dana was my date, and Chris's date was someone I was friends with whose name escapes me. And so the 4 of us kind of planned it out together, maybe something like that. Okay, Scooter, I remember that. And you were friends with all those kids. I do remember that. Yeah, I just wish I remembered who Molly, maybe? I don't know. But that was the dance that they had the dance contest. And, I mean, I guess this is a humble brag. But it's also like it was a school of kids that just couldn't dance and had no rhythm. But they had that dance off. And I remember I was dancing with my date. I mean, it was fast music. And they kept playing songs and then taking people off the dance floor. And maybe, I guess it was just for one winter. And I was really only good at, like, shuffleball. I don't even think I could do shuffleball toe, but I think I was doing some sort of non-tap dance version of shuffleball step or something. Scooter, I think you were. I think the winning thing was that you were actually in sync to the rhythm of the songs. Yeah, probably. And then I won a record. I think it was a Bruce Springsteen record and maybe an MJ record. But I think it was a Bruce Springsteen record, and we had our Fisher-Price record player, so that got a lot of play at home. And Scooter, didn't you perform one of your dance recitals to a Bruce Springsteen song and tap dance? That's a good question. I have to look back. I mean, I think we did. I don't know, because I'm not sure if I did 2 or 3 or 4 or 2. I know I did at least 2 dance recitals when I was in Boys Tap. And we did an episode about that, so I don't think we have to get too deep into that one, the history of my tap dancing lessons. But I don't know, because some of the songs I was actually, my sister did a lot of dance, so I remember watching her. And so I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I know was there a Bruce Springsteen song about working on the highway, working for a living or something like that? Because I know we had yellow shovels and probably white T-shirts rolled up. So I know we danced to a song about working on a highway, and that was part of our tap dancing, was pretending we were working on a highway with shovels. Gee, Scooter, I hope no one that worked on a highway was there. Well, we were glorifying it, so I think it was... So I know we did that one, and then... I don't know what other ones. Maybe an MJ song one year. Maybe a Billy Joel song. Maybe that was a Billy Joel song. I don't know. Okay, Scooter, can we move on to the last dance? Because I don't think we're going to have... I want to get to this dance before we run out of time here together. Well, you're good at projecting. I mean, when you're a neutral projector, could you just project in these sepia tones instead of like bright, bold colors or stark, all or nothing colors? Well, yeah, in the middle of the day, Scooter, I guess I can. Okay, so let's get to this other dance. I think I've talked about it on the podcast before. What kind of questions do you have? Well, Scooter, I was just wondering, like, what you remember from it, and yeah, let's just walk through some of the details. Okay, well, here's what I remember. One, it was I'm trying to also say, I'm not playing any of this for sympathy. So some people might sympathize or relate to what I'm saying. But because you're projecting this away for me, that's kind of neutral. I do feel okay with all this. But so my school it normally had a Sadie Hawkins dance. I didn't go to that one. I don't think, maybe ever. And then it sometimes had when you were a senior or junior, you had your proms or whatever. And then there's probably a couple other dances during the year, I guess, because it's at least we know where the kids are on a weekend night. But definitely it felt like a lot of the dances, maybe there's a winter dance, but a lot of them were date themed, which I wasn't really into. Like I said, kind of have a historical reluctance and detachment from that. Scooter, you were almost protecting yourself in a projection way. Yeah, I guess so. But so this particular dance, and this may be an amalgamation of memories, some of it, so you'll have to indulge me. Scooter, consider yourself indulged. So I would say I was probably a junior. Maybe it was towards the beginning of the year, so maybe it was a back-to-school dance. But that I was a junior, or I could have been a sophomore in high school. And Scooter, what gives you that impression? Well, I think I was probably a junior because I think my brother and maybe my sister were at the dance, and they're 2 years younger than me. The other thing is I remember older kids that being at the dance and ones that I may have had feelings for. So any attention from them was very stimulating. Okay, Scooter, TM. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I just mean in my, it's butterflies, that's what I meant. Okay, thank you, Scooter. And also I have a memory of, people coming to the dance, seniors coming to the dance, or maybe they were juniors, and they had already been out doing things that we weren't supposed to be doing. So they were, Like they were boisterous, but not in a negative way. But I remember that was like, it just seemed a little bit wild to me. Okay, Scooter, what else? Well, it's just like weird, like, and I've talked about this. I don't really talk about this too much on the podcast, but I always had this sense that I don't have so much anymore. Like, not only did, like, this whole square peg round hole thing, but I never felt like like a consistency in my own, not my own identity, but my own comfortableness in who I was, or just being myself. Like some days I'd feel comfortable being myself, and some days I felt like I came from outer space, and you know, all my tools that I created over my childhood were too much for me to like almost like the tools were too much. You know what I'm saying? Scooter, I think I do. Like, some days you could handle things and be yourself and be in the world. And other times there was like 1,000 different things, or you just didn't, you felt much differently than that. Right. And as we talked about these answers, being inhibited or closed off was always a tool, safe tool. You might say it's a blunt instrument, but very effective, and actually not that. It's one that almost all kids use, so an acceptable tool to use, especially in a social situation. Right, Scooter. We could say now maybe unnecessary, but at the time reasonable and seems necessary. Right. So, but when I could break out of that and step out of that into a place of more, I don't know, I don't want to say confidence and comfort, but something like that, let go, was very rare and also baffling. So this dance was one of these baffling ones in a good way. Because I went to the dance, I was 100% sober and clear of mind, except for maybe I took extra Sudafed by accident. That's the only thing I could think of. Okay, Scooter, possible due to Sudafedrin, but more than likely not, and that would have been accidental. And yeah, I got to this dance, and I just let loose, like I've never let loose before. And normally that might be a sign that I really liked somebody, and that then I was going to like embarrass myself, and they'd say, well, you're different, and I'm not into people that are different. But this one, I didn't have a crush on anybody. I mean, the only thing I could think of is that, yeah, because it was the new year, I was caught up in some sort of start of the school year excitement, the horizon of possibilities. And Scooter, could I point out also that you did have a lot of friends, and you seem to have very good friends, and people that liked you and were excited to see you let loose. And yeah, I just let loose on the dance floor. I mean, it's as simple as that. I got to this dance, and probably from the beginning to the end, I let loose out there on the dance floor. Not in an over-the-top way when I could. When the music called for it. And Scooter, I think the most important thing is that you invented your own dance by just because you were letting loose. Yeah, I did start doing this dance, and people started, and that's why I know it was my brother and sister were there, because some of my brother's friends were dancing with me, I think. And then older kids were dancing with me because they were asking me, what did you take before the dance? Even the teachers were. And I think they always had a breathalyzer there. So I said, well, I'd take the breathalyzer. I don't know nothing. I'm 100% clean. And, but yeah, so I did invent a dance by accident. I'm not sure what the first song I invented it on. And it not exactly was the hippest to dance. And I don't know if it would fit on TikTok nowadays. But yeah, people were calling it my dance. They were naming it after me. And it was a bit like you would take you're dancing in a way. I mean, you've seen this version of a dance now. It's where sometimes people are pretending to be a T-Rex. So your arms, but this wasn't what I was doing at the time. It's just what my body was doing. I wasn't trying to embody a T-Rex. But if you put your arms together and in front of you, a bit like some sort of, what are those called? Not a groundhog, but those ones that come out of the hole and beg for stuff, prairie dog. And then you hold your hands together over your head with that prairie dog thing, and you kind of move like a T-Rex. That was the majority of what the arms are doing. Then your legs are kind of moving and you're gyrating your body. And you're dipping, maybe more like a giraffe. I wasn't trying to embody any animals. I was literally I was lost in the music, as they say. And, it may be a little self-conscious because I was letting loose, that then people were aware of my letting looseness. But then some people were getting into that, because it wasn't like strangeness was not outside of my personal behavior. It was more like just like a more open strangeness in front of everybody was maybe a little bit out of my behavior, having fun. And so, and then like, of course, the teachers and stuff thought I was up, I'd been doing something before the dance. But I think I was very hyper. I would say that I had a lot of energy that I released while I was dancing. I had fun. Though it was hard for me to sometimes be like, when I had fun and people were having fun with me, to not, and knowing now that they probably weren't having fun at my expense, to be like, because remember that time I made my own necklace too. And I put metal tools on it and stuff, and I wore that to school. Remember that? Scooter, I do. It was like nuts and bolts and stuff on a necklace, and kids were coming up to me being like, do you have nuts and bolts? Is that a nut and a bolt and a Cheerio on there or something? And I said, yeah, it is. So I made my own necklace. But then just to think that, I don't know, they were like, that's wild, man. But then a part of my brain said, that's probably not the good kind of wild, but it probably was the good kind. And so I guess it was a bit like that, but it was, I let loose. It was fun. And I think there's maybe some kind of positive existentialism, maybe the wrong word, but like an ability to step outside yourself, into yourself. You know what I'm saying, Projector Protector? Scooter, I think that's a good way to wrap it up. It's like, as we think about moving forward together, the two of us, and working together long term, can we find ways to step outside of yourself and into yourself? Because as I'm trying to readapt my tools here, this was good practice for me into a new life where you can get the rest and I can trust that we're capable of handling things. We all win. Well, yeah, I appreciate your help. This was unexpected. I thought this would be more of a surreal episode and less of a personal essay. But thanks for your help tonight, Projector Protector. Thanks for your lifetime of protection. And realize to all your brain bots and other tools or other memories that are, have some smirches or rust on them, that's okay. And that you are the tools that we came up with to work with things at the time. And that, by talking about brain bots, I'm not trying to banish any of you. And maybe sometimes I'm passively aggressively saying, oh boy, that Projector Protector. Or that all-night alert bot that alerts me to generalized alerts that have nothing. I'm just human too, but I realize that you're just doing your job. We're all doing the best we can. It's a good thing we all sleep together every night. So I'm looking forward to snuggling up with all my brain bots tonight. Good night. All right, I want to thank everybody that reviewed the podcast. Let's see. This one says, buckle your seatbelts. Moan Bear said just advertising. And listen to this, and there's nothing but advertising. So that was okay. Then this one says, I cannot give it 1 star, so it must have been a malfunction. 10K reviews. I wanted to love it, but couldn't get past his accent. Not sure where. Midwest, Minnesota, Chicago. They felt like they were watching Fargo. Then 30 years married, said, thank goodness for this podcast. Been insomniac for years, wake up multiple times each night, gets me back to sleep quickly and peacefully. We just had to get to these other ones. Then Ellie Ride Rembrandt, I can't pronounce that. The change in my life, the best thing to happen since Betty White and sliced bread. Kells 822 from Canada, wonderful, does its job, puts me to sleep. Iphigenia 1999 from New Zealand, incredible. Got to be honest, never actually heard all this podcast despite listening every night. Puts me to sleep in for 30 minutes or so. Recommend giving it a go. Ashley, Heyo says, deep and comforting sleep from the Borbay. Started listening, got stuff going on. Turned this on. The first 20 minutes episode I listened to, I fell asleep. Usually fall asleep watching Netflix, not anymore. Bookworm 3581 from Australia said, surprisingly effective. Was pretty skeptical, didn't help initially, but super helpful at keeping my mind off everything and lulling me to sleep slowly. Now I use it most nights and I need a little help. A certain age said, Mr. Roger for insomniacs, helps me feel like a trusted friend, reads to me until I fall asleep for however long it takes, from a book of spells like magic. If you dread bedtime as I used to, you got those thoughts and stuff, give a podcast a try like 3 times. You'll fall asleep and join the sleepy sporters. And then, I think I read this one. Dana's not happy about, like, asking for sport, which is, everybody has, their own opinion about those things. So I think that's it. So thanks everybody for reviewing the show over on Apple Podcasts. I really appreciate that. If you use that app or have it on your desktop, you could review the show there. You could just let somebody know about the podcast. That's actually how we grow and how people find about not just Sleep With Me, but all podcasts. Or if you're a regular listener in your position to do so, you could support a sponsor or support the show. That's how we keep it free for everybody. And that's it. I want to tell you about a podcast here coming up. Good night.